dear students, how are you? I believe you all are having a good time and you are enjoying sound health and mind. Welcome to Amar Ghore Amar School. Welcome to English class. Let's begin today's lesson. At the very beginning, I want you all to read this following short paragraph with me. I'm reading it for you. There is a saying, morning tea is not enjoyable without a newspaper. A newspaper opens a newer horizon every day before our eyes and brings the whole world to our doorsteps. It contains all sorts of news and views and public opinion. Newspaper is the mirror of the world. If you look at this short paragraph, you see there are a few sentences in this short paragraph. And you know, a sentence is the largest unit of any language. So today's lesson is about sentences, clauses, which are in fact the parts of sentences, and also types of sentences. Let's begin. Let us know what we mean by a sentence. A sentence is a group of words usually containing a verb that expresses a complete sense in the form of a statement, question, instruction, or exclamation, and starts with a capital letter when written. For example, I like walking in the morning. You can see this sentence, which we call sentence, started with a capital letter and it contains a subject and a verb inside it. In fact, without a verb, we cannot construct a sentence. Now we will learn clauses, which are in fact parts of sentences. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a predicate. Let us have a look at some examples. The first one is computers are important. Here, it is one sentence. At the same time, it is one clause. It means a sentence can have only one clause. Second example, computers are important, but they are dangerous too. We can see it is one single sentence, but two clauses. Now, if you look at this sentence carefully, there are in fact two sentences. For example, computers are important and they are dangerous too. These are two sentences, but when we combine two sentences, we don't say this sentence has two sentences. Instead, we say this big sentence, little bit bigger sentence, contains two clauses. So we can say a sentence can have one clause or more than one clauses. Now, my dear students, let us take part in an activity. We are going to find out whether these statements on the left side are true or false. The first one, a sentence is a part of a clause. What do you think? It is absolutely wrong because a clause is a part of a sentence. We can see that a sentence may have more than one clauses. So the first one is absolutely false. And with this note, the second sentence, a sentence may have more than one clauses. It is going to be true because a sentence contains one clause or even more clauses. So this statement is absolutely true. Third one, a sentence is a group of words. Absolutely correct because a sentence contains words. Without words, we cannot construct a sentence. We have seen some examples already. Fourth one, a sentence must end with a full stop. What do you think? It is not always correct because a sentence may have an exclamation sign at the end. Therefore, we cannot say that it must end with a full stop. So we should consider it false. And the last one, a sentence must have a verb. Absolutely correct. A sentence may not have a preposition. A sentence may not have a noun or a pronoun, but it must have a verb. A verb is a must for a sentence construction. Now, my dear students, we are going to learn kinds of clauses. If you look, there are two kinds of clauses in English. Independent clause or subordinate clause. We sometimes say subordinate clause, a dependent clause. Subordinate means dependent. Now, let us learn what we mean by independent clause. An independent clause expresses a complete thought and can stand by itself as a sentence. We have seen that a sentence may have one clause or even more clauses. If you look at this example, lazy students fail in the exam. It is absolutely an independent clause because it doesn't depend on any other clauses. For example, lazy students fail in the exam. If you look at this example, subject plus verb giving a complete thought because this particular sentence, this particular clause is giving us a complete idea. Therefore, we can say this is independent clause. This clause doesn't depend on any other clause, so it is absolutely independent. And now let us learn subordinate clause or dependent clause. A subordinate clause is a group of words that has a subject and a predicate but cannot stand by itself as complete sentence because it does not express a complete thought, complete idea. If you look at the example, whenever lazy students fail in the exam, they blame others. Now, have a look at this underlined part one more time. This is a clause, and if you take it separately, it doesn't give us any thought. It doesn't give us any meaning. Just have a look. Whenever lazy students fail in the exam, it is incomplete. It needs another part of the sentence to give a complete idea. Therefore, we can say subordinate clause means incomplete thought or incomplete idea. It is always depending on any other clause to give us a complete meaning. Here we can see whenever lazy students fail, it requires another idea. Therefore, we added they blame others. In fact, this particular clause is independent clause. Now, dear students, let us participate in another activity, whether we are going to find out this underlined part on the left side are dependent clause or independent clause. The first one, the crowd greeted Bashrafi when he entered the stadium. Let us read this underlined part one more time. When he entered the stadium, it doesn't give any sense. It doesn't give any complete thought. Therefore, it is definitely dependent clause. It is dependent on the first clause, which is independent. Second one, as he walked across the field, he waved back to the audience. Now have a look at the underlined part. As he walked across the field, it doesn't give us any complete idea. Therefore, it is a dependent clause. This dependent clause is depending on the independent clause here in the other part of the sentence. He waved back to the audience. It is giving a complete sense. So it is independent, but the underlined part is dependent. Next one, a tornado is a violent storm and it can be terrifying. It is giving us a complete sense. A tornado is a violent storm. It can give us a complete idea and it itself can be a sentence. So it is going to be independent clause. And the last one, I can help you if you come here. The first part giving complete idea being an independent clause. If you look, I can help you. It itself can be a sentence. Therefore, it is going to be an independent clause. It is giving a complete idea. Now, my dear students, let us learn kinds of subordinate clauses. A subordinate clause may function as an adjective, an adverb, or as a noun. These clauses are also known as adjective clauses, adverb clauses, and noun clauses. Let us learn in detail. The first one, adjective clause. A subordinate clause functions as an adjective if it modifies a noun or a pronoun. The quality of an adjective we know. The movie that you recommended to me was good. Here, the movie, we are qualifying this noun with this particular subordinate clause. What kind of movie? That you recommended to me. It is qualifying this particular noun. Therefore, this underlined subordinate clause is an adjective clause. Next one, a doctor who takes care of the children is a pediatrician. Now, what kind of doctor? The quality of the doctor is what? Who takes care of the children. It is qualifying this noun, a doctor. Therefore, it is an adjective clause. Next one, adverb clause. A subordinate clause functions as an adverb if it modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. If you look at this example, before you buy a television, you should compare prices. Here, this underlined part is talking about a time. When? When do you compare price? Before you buy a television. Since it is indicating time, it is in fact an adverb, which is modifying the verb you should compare. Next example, we can have lunch wherever you want. Here, this underlined clause, wherever you want, is indicating a place. Therefore, it is also an adverb clause. For your understanding, remember when, where, how, why, what extent. If you want to find out adverb clauses, try to find out the answer of when, where, how, why, what extent. You can easily identify adverb clauses. Now the last category, noun clause. This noun clause is in fact a subordinate clause which functions as a noun in sentences. Have a look at these examples. I don't know where Shima is. Here, where Shima is, this particular clause is talking about the name of a place. Therefore, it is functioning as a noun. Next one, I was criticized for what I did. Maybe the sentence was, I was criticized for my misconduct. I was criticized for my behavior, which is a noun. You can easily replace a noun or a noun phrase in the underlined part of a noun clause. And the last one, that he is generous is known to all. Here, this particular subordinate clause, which is underlined, is functioning as a subject. And you know, the subject of a sentence must be noun or pronoun. Here, this is functioning as the noun. Therefore, it is a noun clause. Now, my dear students, let us learn kinds of sentences. In fact, according to meaning, there are 5 kinds of sentences: assertive sentence, interrogative sentence, imperative sentence, optative sentence, and exclamatory sentence. Let us learn in detail. The first one, an assertive sentence. The sentence which simply asserts something is called an assertive sentence. It is a kind of declarative sentence. It is talking about a statement. Therefore, it is assertive. It asserts something. Now, an assertive sentence is of 2 kinds, affirmative and negative. Let us learn what we mean by them. Affirmative sentence. An affirmative sentence affirms a statement. Affirms means to say yes. It is talking about a positive connotation. For example, I play cricket. He is a poet. These 2 examples are an example of affirmative sentence. They are assertive, but also affirming a statement. Therefore, we can say these 2 are affirmative sentence. But on the contrary, a negative sentence, the sentence which denies something, is called a negative sentence. For example, I don't play cricket. He is not a poet. It is simply denying these first 2 affirmative sentences. I play cricket, affirmative. I don't play cricket, negative. He is a poet, affirmative. He is not a poet, negative. Very easy. Next one, interrogative sentence. The sentence which asks a question about something or someone is called an interrogative sentence. Very simple. What do you want? Where is Japan? Does he play chess? If you look at the sentences, it is questioning about a particular thing, about a particular person or anything. So when you make a question, you use interrogative sentence. But remember, when writing, you must use a question mark at the end. Don't forget it. Third category, imperative sentence. The sentence which indicates a command, a request, or an advice is called an imperative sentence. Remember 3 things: command, request, and advice. If you have any of these 3, be sure it is imperative. If you look at these examples, open the door. It is a command. Please help me. It is a request. Don't play in the sun. It is an advice. So these 3 combine an imperative sentence. One more time. Command, request, advice. Imperative. Fourth category, optative sentence. The sentence which expresses a wish, a desire, or a prayer is called an optative sentence. For example, may you be happy in life. It is a wish, or even it is a prayer. You can say, may the boy pass the test. It is a good wish. It is a prayer. You can also say, may you live long. May Bangladesh live long. So these are the desires and these are the wishes that we express in our day-to-day life. And therefore, we use optative sentence. Whenever you have a wish, whenever you have a prayer, please use optative sentences. Now the last category, category number 5, exclamatory sentence. The sentence which expresses an emotion or a sudden feeling is called an exclamatory sentence. In fact, here we talk about a feeling that comes automatically, that comes all on a sudden. You cannot plan for an emotion. You cannot be happy, you cannot be sad, you cannot be angry as a part of your plan. It comes automatically. And therefore, we use exclamatory sentence. Have a look at some examples. How nice the bird is. When you look at a beautiful bird, you have this kind of emotion. When you want to express the emotion, you say, how nice the bird is. Second one, what a cold day it is. So it is also a sudden emotion. It is also a sudden feeling. And to express this feeling, you have to use an exclamatory sentence. Remember, at the end of any exclamatory sentence, use this exclamation mark. It is absolutely mandatory. Now, my dear students, let's take part in one more activity. This is going to be an activity where you have to fill up the gaps with independent clauses. Do you remember what we mean by independent clauses? Let me remind you one more time. Independent clause can express a complete thought, and it can itself stand by a complete sentence. So let us fill up this gap with the help of some independent clauses. The first one, you can see the next part of the sentence contains a dependent clause or a subordinate clause. When I woke up this morning. It cannot make a complete sense. Now let us fill up the gap and make a whole sentence with the help of an independent clause. So we can write, I saw a beautiful bird when I woke up this morning. We can also write, I was surprised by a gift. I was startled by a noise. We can fill up with any independent clause that can match with the rest part of the sentence. Second one, gap, if it rains tomorrow. So it is a kind of negative connotation. Maybe I won't be able to do something. So in that case, we can fill up the gap by writing, I will not go to the park if it rains tomorrow. You can also write, I won't be able to play the game with you. I won't be able to join you if it rains tomorrow. The third one, gap, but I have to finish my homework. Now remember, when we have but or though, it means contrast. The idea is going to contrast. So if I say, but I have to finish my homework, it means I am not able to do something because of this activity. So we can easily write, I like to stay here with you, but I have to finish my homework. So this is a priority. And because of this priority, I cannot do this activity. So this is a beautiful use of independent clause. Number 4, we have the use of although. Again, it is a contrastive idea. Again, it is a contrast idea. Although we met before. So if I write in this way, unfortunately, I forgot your name. So what we mean, usually when we meet someone, we remember the name, we remember the face, we remember the contact. So if I write in this way, unfortunately, I forgot your name, although we met before. Altogether, it makes a beautiful sense. Number 5, gap which was stolen. So if we write in this way, this is the bicycle which was stolen. So we are referring to something that was stolen before. By using this relative pronoun, we are referring to the bicycle. So this is the bicycle which was stolen. This part is the use of an independent clause. This is the bicycle can also stand as a complete sentence. Now the last one, dash, unless you shout. Now remember, unless means if not. So if you do not shout, what is going to happen? You may not be heard. So we can fill up the gap like this. You cannot be heard unless you shout. So this is how we can use independent clauses. Also, we can have similar exercises with the uses of dependent clauses. I'm sure you are going to do very well. Now, my dear students, let us recap what we have learned in today's class. We have learned sentences. We have learned the definition of a sentence, the construction of a sentence. We also learned clauses. Clauses are parts of sentences. We also learned that a sentence may have one clause or more than one clauses. We also learned the kinds of clauses, dependent clauses, independent clauses. Also, we learned about kinds of dependent clauses, noun clauses, adjective clauses, adverb clauses. And finally, we learned the types of sentences. Different types of, 5 types of sentences we have already learned. Dear students, this is going to be your homework. You have to find out the kinds of sentences. Now you know which sentence is affirmative, which sentence is negative, which one is imperative or optative or exclamatory. By looking at the structure or the punctuation mark at the end of a sentence, you can easily find out the kind of a sentence. So I wish you good luck with this homework. Now, as soon as you finish the homework, as soon as your school opens, submit it to your teacher. So that's all for now. Stay well, stay safe, and please keep learning English. Thank you all.